Drew, really? Let's just get rid of him already. Anyone else think Lulu should have actually gotten slapped? Or is it just me? Because seriously, that girl is way out of line. Now, Brooklyn, I'm a mother, so let's talk about this. Watching her sobbing to Lulu, pleading for some shred of sympathy, it was almost too much. I couldn't help but think, Lulu, are you seriously this cold? I mean, I went through 12 hours of labor and still gave my baby up for adoption without even holding him. And Lulu, she's just sitting there, cold as ice. But hey, I guess even her frosty heart started to thaw a little as Brooklyn went on. And if there's any silver lining here, it was Lulu finally revealing to Brooklyn that she knew about her secret because your mom spilled it to my Uncle Martin. So much for that being the past, huh? Looks like that secret's out in the open now. But let's talk about Emma for a second. Wow, can we just pause and give her a round of applause? She was spectacular. I literally burst out laughing when she told Tracy to leave the old lady alone. Tracy was sitting there, looking around, totally lost, like, who's she talking to? Honestly, how much are we loving Emma right now? She went full beast mode on Drew, calling him out, recording everything, and oh, don't forget posting it. Emma for president. Oh, and she's definitely abusing her office power, but you know what? Clap clap for her, because Congress is in session right now and she's just chilling here. And wasn't Oscar buried there? Just saying. As for Brooklyn, I'm really hoping she gets some answers from Lois. She deserves the full truth, especially after Lulu's cruelty. Honestly, I felt so bad for Brooklyn. She made such a hard decision when she was younger, and Lulu just, and don't even get me started on Drew. He's a joke. Seriously, go do your job in DC. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. That's assault. Well, Tracy better not end up in jail, though I'm sure if she does, it'll be a blink and you miss it kind of situation. Martin's a joke of a lawyer anyway. It's honestly pathetic. But the real fun is going to be watching Drew face the fallout for all of this. Can't wait for that train wreck. And Emma, finally a silver lining. Who knew her incessant antics could actually be useful? Then again, watching anyone get the upper hand on Drew is a joy, so there's that. If this is building up to a Who Killed Drew storyline, sign me up. I'm all for it. Just do us all a favor and stop writing Lulu as the insufferable, self-righteous diva she's become. I'm really not here for her at all. Speaking of great moments, the scenes at the crypt were a riot. Jane Elliott is a treasure. She makes everything better. Honestly, the whole combo of characters was great. Even the new Emma didn't annoy me for once. I actually enjoyed watching her use social media to smack Drew around and play the Edward saved my life card to team up with Tracy. Also, shout out to Gio for running to the mansion for backup and Ned for calling in reinforcements. Comedy gold. As for Drew, he really needs to pack up, take Willow and the kids, and get out of Port Charles. He doesn't belong there. Willow really needs to know about the mess he made with Nina before she even looked at him. Seriously, she dumped her perfect life for a guy who was having an affair with her mother. Talk about a fool. Can we just end the Drew Kane saga already and get back to General Hospital? He's hogging all the screen time, and honestly, I skipped through most of his scenes. The only reason I watched yesterday was to see Tracy, and Amanda Setton was phenomenal. Emmy-worthy, no doubt. Oh, and Lulu? Please, just leave. I almost wish she stayed in the coma. Why couldn't they just let Brooklyn land one good slap on Lulu's face? Talk about a missed opportunity. It was practically begging for it. As for Anna and Valentine, love them or hate them, that was a moment. A real finally moment between the two of them. I mean, it's hard not to love it, right? It's like a throwback to when we all genuinely believed Valentine had turned a new leaf. Ah, the good old days when we thought, hey, maybe he's really changed. That line, "The time you thought you loved me was the best moments of my life." Classic. Of course, Anna never said she loved him, but we all know she still carries that little piece of him with her. And then here comes Lulu, ready to rage again. But guess what? She's about to get her daughter back so she can tone down the tantrum. The real question, is Lulu even remotely prepared for the grown-up version of Charlotte? Spoiler, it's basically just another Lulu. Now, Valentine and Charlotte speaking French together, pure gold. A little reminder of what used to be between them. It was a sweet, bittersweet moment that just hits you right in the feels. They've kept the door open on the Valentine story, which is smart. We never know when he could come back, and honestly, I'm just waiting for that day. But let's all just sit back and enjoy the show that's about to unfold with Lulu trying to handle Charlotte. It's going to be a rough ride for her. And wait, will Charlotte be moving into the Quartermain mansion? Can you imagine? All the other kids, plus Charlotte, in that house of chaos. Classic. Now, this whole storyline about the Quartermain crypt being on land they don't own. Please, that's pushing it even by soap standards. The richest family in Port Charles, the ones with lawyers on speed dial? There's no way they wouldn't have the paperwork. They could easily fix it by saying the Quartermains owned all the land, gifted some to the city, and kept the crypt under their care. Problem solved. And when, oh when, are we finally going to see Drew get his comeuppance? Willow needs to catch him in the act of being the vindictive jerk he's always been. I can't stand watching him play the nice guy with her, then turn into the devil when dealing with everyone else. Enough already. Emma was on fire at the crypt today. She totally owned Drew. Finally, someone stood up to him. Now, for the love of sanity, can we please get Drew and Willow off the screen? The whole nice guy act is a joke, and honestly, no one's buying it anymore. Fans are seriously over it. If they don't fix this fast, they'll be tuning out to the new show. Time to read the room. Lulu, seriously out of line. I really wish Brooklyn could have slapped her across the face because, let's be honest, Lulu totally had it coming. And can we talk about Valentine? So glad to see him back. I've missed James Patrick Stewart, chef's kiss. The house they were in, though, it looked like Carly and Jack's of old place. Anyone else remember that? Nostalgia, anyone? Now, let's talk about the mess the writers are making of the women characters. Carly and Jocelyn, strong, independent women who never let anyone walk all over them. Now they're acting like complete fools, making dumb decisions left and right. And Sasha, taking money from someone who almost killed her. Yeah, no, that's not something she'd do. Carly wouldn't fall for that kind of nonsense either, and Jocelyn sure as heck would see right through it. It's just bad writing, plain and simple. And Alexis, please, she's a defense attorney, not some rookie who's gonna touch a blade and leave her prints. Come on, writers, get it together. This isn't just unrealistic. It's insulting to the characters we've been watching for decades. Fix it, because right now, they're making these women look like amateurs. But you know what? Despite all that, GH is still good. It's not perfect, what show is, but the people behind it are busting their butts to entertain us. So maybe let's dial down the nitpicking just a bit. Let's show some love and support for our show, because we really don't want to lose it, or any other soap. And hey, we've got a new one now. Let's support that too. I know GH and The Gates might be competing in some markets, but in others, you can watch them at different times. So let's keep showing the love for all soaps, because we sure don't want to see any of them go. Keep supporting, folks, it's worth it. Willow, what a masterpiece of spine and self-respect we've got on our hands. We've all known for a while now that she's basically a magnet for manipulation, especially when it comes to men. But seriously, packing up and moving in with the guy you've been having an affair with just a couple of months after your marriage falls apart? That's a stellar life decision. A real Parent of the Year move, right? I mean, who needs to prioritize their kids when they can just dive headfirst into a toxic relationship for some instant self-gratification? Genius. And don't even get me started on the Carly, Jason, or Drew situation. When Carly points out how ridiculous it is that Drew would act as Jason's alibi, because we all know Drew would never lie for Jason, right? Willow doesn't even flinch. She doesn't ask a single question. Instead, she just blindly accepts whatever Drew says without a shred of doubt. It's almost impressive how quickly she went from questioning everything, being smart and independent, to losing all sense of reason after one ride on Drew's magic stick. There's no recovering from this kind of storyline. Honestly, she's always been like this, but Drew brings out the absolute worst in her. Like Michael said, she just molds herself into whatever her current guy wants her to be. She really needs a solid therapist, and maybe a few years of being single to reconnect with her kids and herself. But nope, instead, she's living in Drew's world, drinking the Kool-Aid and believing every word that comes out of his mouth. So much for growth. So Dante's reaction, initially, I'm sure he'll be floored. Finding out you've got a kid you knew absolutely nothing about for 2 decades. Yeah, that's gonna sting. But let's be real, he's not a monster. After the initial shock wears off, I'm betting he'll come around to forgiving Brooke Lynn. I mean, they were both young, and honestly, it probably seemed like the right thing to do at the time. It was traumatic for her. He'd be an idiot not to see that. Plus, she was just following her mom's lead, like the good little soldier she was. It wasn't exactly a decision made over a cup of coffee. Now Lulu. Oh, Lulu is going to get a nice, big helping of Dante's wrath. That nasty, scheming, self-serving piece of work. If anyone deserves an earful, it's her. Just wait till Dante unloads on her for all the selfish, toxic nonsense she's been pulling. But let's talk about the real villain here, Lois. Because, really, who thought it was a brilliant idea to give Gio to people so close to her that he calls Sonny Uncle Sonny? Oh, and surprise, surprise, now he's living under the same roof as his parents. Brilliant move, Lois. Seriously, who needs secrecy when you can play a long con on your own daughter? Of course, the real kicker is that Lois kept all this from her, because, keeping that little bombshell under wraps for the sake of family peace never leads to complications, right? Sure, Dante will probably forgive Brooke Lynn eventually, but realistically, it's going to take some time. Finding out you've been in the dark for 2 decades is not a, oh, no big deal, let's hug it out kind of moment. It's a massive betrayal, even if it was under the guise of protection or doing the right thing. And while Brooke Lynn might get some slack because of how young and scared she was, Lois is toast. After years of gaslighting her daughter, making her feel like the bad guy for doing what she thought was right, yeah, Lois is about to become the most hated person in the room. Dante will probably burn her to the ground. It's hard to say how things will shake out with Lulu, though. If she keeps blowing things up and acting like she's the only one with a moral compass, people might start wishing they could send her to the corner with a timeout. But that's what happens when you play the I'm the only one who cares about the truth card too much. The question is, how's everyone going to treat Lois moving forward? Especially poor Gio, who's been lied to his whole life. That's going to be fun to watch. When will Drew finally get what's coming to him? Because, let's be real, this guy's been nothing but a walking disaster ever since he slithered into Congress. Seriously, all we get from him is him terrorizing the townsfolk and parading his little side piece around. At this point, Drew's probably a bigger villain than Peter August. And sure, by the end of Peter's arc, you might feel a tiny bit sorry for him, but Drew, no remorse, just pure, unfiltered hatred. And don't even get me started on Willow. The two of them, a match made in toxic heaven. Honestly, I'd love to see both of them meet a truly violent end, but since they're clearly the writer's favorites, I'll settle for Drew being thrown in a cell somewhere, and getting a daily dose of reality check via beatings. As for Willow, she should lose her kids and let Michael and Sasha raise them. That'd be karma in its finest form. She's having Drew play dad to Michael's children. Delicious irony, right? At this point, it seems like the entire town's just become a Drew-hating fan club. The way people are talking, you think he's already hit the Peter August level of villainy. I mean, Peter was a certified psycho, with layers of trauma and a backstory that just made you despise him from the get-go. Drew, he's just there. He's done some truly despicable things, but he hasn't quite hit that level yet. Not yet, anyway. And honestly, I have no idea what the writers are doing with him at this point. The whole town can't stand him, or Willow, for that matter, and we've all seen that video of them getting all cozy together. So, why hasn't anyone dropped the hammer on them yet? What's the holdup? They're definitely setting Drew up for one of two spectacular storylines here. Option 1. He gets shot in the head or stabbed by someone. Maybe that's why Sidwell's been hanging onto that dagger and ends up with brain damage. He wakes up from a coma, all confused and back to his old self, and discovers just how deep in the gutter he's fallen. I mean, this includes the whole screwing his nephew's wife thing. Great stuff, right? Option 2. Drew has a brain aneurysm, and when he miraculously wakes up after surgery, he's suddenly back to old Drew again. But surprise, he's still been a great jerk, and now everyone keeps pointing out how much he's changed, like that somehow makes everything he did okay. Honestly, after today, I can't see any way Drew comes back from this. Sure, other characters have done worse and got away with it, but Drew? This guy's being petty on a whole new level. He's really outdone himself. At this point, Drew's the first Quartermain I actually want dead, and I can only hope he gets killed off the classic Quartermain way. You know, the most offensive, out-of-nowhere death possible. Aegis style anyone. Are we already calling them a possible couple? Because sure, why not? I mean, it's not like we haven't seen this play out 1,000 times before, right? If he introduced himself, I missed it, but that's just my opinion. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just a quick rebound for her. It's kind of the perfect setup. And in case you're wondering, his name, drumroll, please, is Vaughn, according to the spoilers. Not sure if they've actually dropped his name on the show yet, so I spoiler tagged it for you, just in case. But if you've ever watched an old ABC show with a similar storyline, you're going to laugh and possibly groan when you see it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.